name's Claudia. This is my first YouTube video. As many of you all know, TikTok is getting banned, RIP. And I thought I would move over to making some content here. Go back to my roots, if you will. I was a YouTube girl back in the day. Thought I'd just give this a shot. I'm not used to making long form content, and I am certainly not used to talking in front of a camera for lengthy periods of time, so bear with the probable lots of ums and pauses and awkward ways of phrasing things. I just figured I'd start. And I figured I'd start with just talking about some things that I've liked recently. A lot of what I use TikTok for effectively ended up working out more as like a journal of some sorts in a way. So I thought I would just try to bring that over here. I will get started. I have my little list right here. Unfortunately, I do not have the mind at this moment to keep track of all the things I wish to talk about without getting distracted and inevitably forgetting half of what I wish to talk about. So yeah, with that, I have my little coffee and my little list, and we'll get started. Let's see, what do we got here? Yes, my book. I have been enjoying this book right here. It is The Best American Food Writing 2019 by Samin Nosrat. If you are into the food scene at all, you know who she is. She's super brilliant, author of Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat, I believe. And she edited this book with another woman named Sylvia Killingsworth. And it's just a compilation of what they deemed the best American food writing to be of that year. As someone also trying to get into food writing a little bit, I wasn't familiar with too much of it other than food reviews and whatnot. These are straight up masterpieces of American journalism at this point. It has opened my eyes so much already into not only the ways that we look at and describe food, but a lot of pieces also on how we get the food that we have. A big topical piece, if you will, at the moment was, I think, one of the first few articles that she placed in this book was about the Resnick family from California, owners of the Palm Wonderful brand. They're literally the whole reason we basically eat pomegranates and cuties. Literally, the woman of the wife of the Resnicks. As you can tell, I'm still getting used to this. Yeah, she was responsible for a lot of that marketing, but also, more importantly, responsible for basically controlling the vast majority of Southern California's water supply. Straight up stealing water. It's insane how they run that business, and they are wildly successful because of it, at the cost of a lot of things. I'm also currently reading a story on, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Rancho Gordo beans. They're generally these really expensive beans. I never bought them myself because they're kind of pricey for a small pack of beans. Some of my friends had bought them before and said they were quite good, but I did not know that the guy that founded that brand is one of the biggest reasons that we now see different kinds of beans in fine dining. He was discovered at a farmer's market in California by Thomas Keller, who, if you don't know who he is the founder of French Laundry, a Michelin star restaurant. If you've ever seen like the Thomas Keller method for making zucchini, big name in cooking, basically. Yeah, so that is something I've been enjoying. I'm not super far in just yet, but already mind blown with a lot of what I have read, and I highly recommend checking it out if you really like food. Other things that I have been enjoying. Yes. In addition to loving food a lot, anyone that knows me in real life knows that I really love food and cooking, all that good stuff. And I'm also very much into perfume. So one of my favorite perfumes that I got as a Christmas present from my husband is Philosophos by Diptyque. This is probably one of their more popular ones, and for a good reason. I own a lot of perfumes. I tend to really like fresh slash musky scents. And this one truly is just so beautiful. It is a green fig musky coconutty scent, and when I say coconut, it's a really interesting scent, and partially why I like it so much. The coconut is not a tropical coconut that you typically think of. It's actually kind of like a more musky, clean, powdery coconut. Very different, similar to if you've ever smelled Versace Crystal Noir that has a coconut note. I think so. And that one is also it's more clean, musky, not in the way that you typically see in most fragrances, which is, you know, bright, fruity, tropical, which is delicious, but just not necessarily my taste. Yeah, this is lovely. What does this smell like? To me, it just smells like the same kind of smell, fresh cut grass, a little bit, like that kind of smell, with like fresh ripe fruit, and not like a sweet, jammy, sugary fruit, more like a juicy stone fruit, like a plum, like a sour type of fruit. It smells that fig smell. I love fig smells, by the way. If you don't like fig, obviously you probably won't like this, but I quite enjoy it. It just has such a chic smell to it. Obviously this is probably mostly in my head, but also if I am buying things and enjoying things, then the only head it has to make sense to is my own. So perfume is just one of those things that that just really sells a fantasy in my head. It really can take me to different places, or just straight up make me feel extra elevated, or be a kind of person that I wish to be that day. So yeah, I've been enjoying that perfume a lot. Oof, another thing that I have been enjoying in the vein of talking about YouTube. I discovered this artist. I was just suggested just randomly on my For You page. I truly, honestly was drawn to the art. I've been on a nostalgia kick recently, especially for a specific vibe of the 2000s that I don't entirely know how to explain at this moment. Maybe I should make a separate video on that later, trying to explain what I mean. But it's a very specific moody vibe from the 2000s that was very jazzy, ambient. The artwork had reminded me of this kind of particular vibe, and I'll maybe put up a little thing there. Yeah, his music just kind of came up, specifically an album. Did I even mention the name of this artist? I don't think I did. Damn. This artist called Cave Star. Please let me know if someone else got this artist on their For You page on YouTube, and if you've been enjoying that artist as well, because I would love to discuss. But he's this underground electronic artist from the 90s. I was really drawn to the cover. It was just really one of his albums. I forgot which one I had first originally landed on. I think it was the one with like a lot of blues and greens, and it's got like a white background. I'll probably put a little image right here. Because I've been also kind of on this nostalgia kick for a specific vibe from the 2000s that I don't really know how to super well explain at this moment. Maybe I'll make a different video on it. But it's something that's been very inspiring to me, and something I try to look for, just not only in visuals but in music as well. Yeah, it's been really, really nice music to listen to. Very calming, very ambient. Very reminiscent of a specific point in time. I feel like if you grew up in the 2000s, like it's not the kind of thing that you would immediately like have the name for, but you would immediately kind of recognize the sound as soon as you heard it. So I've been really, really enjoying that. I play like his music sometimes when I'm just like doing chores or doing some work. I don't know, walking around especially. I do live out my pretentious dreams by like walking around in New York listening to that music and feeling like I'm the main character in some kind of swanky rom-com. So that has been very, very nice. I encourage you to check him out. I don't know if he's still active as a musician, but last I checked, he does still have an Instagram up. It's great. I definitely think you should check it out. Let me put my coffee down and see what else I got on this list before I ramble too much longer on that. Oh yeah, another random thing that I do enjoy right now is charred lime in food. Going back to my hobby as a cook a lot. One of my very close friends, in a way, introduced me to this ingredient, if you will, because we were gonna cook something, and then she showed me this recipe for charred lime miso carbonara pasta. Absolutely delicious. You should try to find a recipe on that. But I just made the recipe. It was the first time I ever charred a lime, which is really funny. I'm half Mexican, so if you know anything about being Mexican, you love limes. Anything limon flavored, delicious. Putting lime on anything, delicious. On fruits, chips, literally whatever you could think of. But I've never ever considered charring a lime at all. And it was so unbelievably delicious. It was also just very different and new to me. It transformed like this kind of more sharp, acidic, aromatic lime to something a little more jammy and fragrant. The smell is delicious. You smell more of like those lime oils, and it just really gives like a delicious depth of flavor to something that you typically can't. It's just one of those things that you probably haven't tasted a lot of before, if at all. So yeah, I put it in like broths recently. Like I'll make like a little dashi broth and char a lime beforehand, and then put the lime juice in there of that charred lime. It just gives it a delicious extra, like not only freshness but sweetness, and just a really nice depth of flavor. You get a little bit of that caramelization in the flavor profile as well, and it is so good. So definitely I recommend trying that if you had never heard of doing such a thing. Ooh, also speaking of my nostalgia kick, I also have been Michelle Phan videos. And I mean like the old ones, like the old back in the day, like the grainy, doing like a simple like natural makeup look, to even some of like the early, like the poker face tutorial and all that good stuff. Oh, like the seductive vampire one. I don't know if anyone remembers that. I used to watch that religiously. But before I ramble too much on that, because of that, I also rediscovered Real Ones Will Know that she would post this one band, or not post, she would include the music of this one band, Late Night Alumni, in most of her early videos. Very, very similar vibe to the one I was talking to earlier. This one is definitely less electronic and more like an actual band singing and everything. Hello, sun. It's been very cloudy all day, so it's very nice to see the sun come out just before it sets, but better late than never. Yeah, it's very much, if anyone's been on enjoying the Imogen Heap renaissance, if you are in that niche group, I feel like there's a similar vibe there. If you disagree with me, do that. But I've been very much enjoying their music. I have been listening to like just a couple of their songs, and it just really takes me back to watching Michelle Phan videos as like a 10, 11-year-old, however old I was, like in my room, thinking about like how I would be able to do these makeup looks, and it's good music. It's good music. I recommend it if you like, again, like electronic pop ambient music. I don't even know how to describe it. It's very good. I recommend also giving them another go. Oh yes, and lastly, eBay for shopping. I've been on eBay a lot recently, especially as we get into these conversations about overconsumption with clothes, but regrettably also if you still like shopping like I do. I do a lot of shopping. I've been on there to just find, like, I don't know, random items, specifically, honestly, on the hunt for clothes made of real fabric. Because fabrics these days are all made out of plastic. And this is not me trying to be like snooty. I feel like that's not even true. Like as much as you want to say that, like, oh, it's, you know, just Shein, it's just Temu or Zara, like, it's inexpensive brands too that use like polyester or, you know, whatever, I'm blanking right now, which isn't always the best. They're not always warm. They pill really weird. The fabric feels very strange. Sometimes you would like to feel a natural fiber again on your skin. And especially ever since moving from Texas to New York, I do find myself needing sweaters a whole lot more than I used to. Back in Texas, I think I wore a sweater like 3 times a year. And yeah, it's been really nice to go there to just not only find unique things that feel more tailored to my personal style, better quality. I get, like, there was a sweater I got recently. It's a vintage Banana Republic sweater. And it's, honestly, it's gorgeous. I get complimented already on it like literally almost every time I go outside. It fits very nicely. And like I said, one of those things that, like, it's very simple, but also just something that you're like, oh, I don't know that I could easily find something like that. Just if I did a quick Google search that has like the exact kind of fit and material and good feel and construction. Construction is also a big thing in clothes that I've been trying to pay more attention to. Yeah, and I really, really encourage, especially if you are struggling a little bit with personal style and specifically like wanting to be inspired by things like Pinterest, because trust me, I'm on Pinterest all the time and I get inspiration from there, but sometimes you feel like you want something to fit more you specifically, and especially as brands also feel like they're starting to like all blend together a little bit, like they all, whether explicitly or in small ways, are trying to follow the exact kind of micro trends. It starts to feel like, oh, all of the same clothes all look the same, if you get what I'm talking about. I recommend doing that. I think you can also find things still there for a pretty decent price if you are willing to dig a little bit, kind of like a thrift store. Because I also enjoy Poshmark and Depop, but if you've been on there for a while, you know that people sell things for extortionate prices. So yeah, that is another thing that I've been enjoying. I think that is all I wish to talk about today. I hope that if you made it all the way here, that you enjoyed listening to me ramble. If anything, let me know what you have been enjoying recently. Just like, whether it be a specific thing, a hobby, a book, just taking walks, I don't know, literally anything. Honestly, especially if it's a non-material thing, I want to hear about that more. Yeah. Thank you for watching, and hope you guys have a wonderful day.